Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and good evening. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching me from. My name is Dr. Bioramba Igboweze, reaching you from Nkolo Mahadum. Thank you for joining me today in this live lecture. Today's date is Orie, Market Day, in the 11th month of the Igbo lunar calendar called Onwa Ajana. And in the Roman Catholic calendar, today's date is December 5th, 2024. Remember, at Kolama Hadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call Akonuche. We have also maintained that if other medias in North America, United States and Canada, and even Mexico, the Chinese, Russians, Arabic medias, and others package lectures to benefit them, the same way we at Nkoloma Hadum Wisdom University packages lectures to benefit you and me. Therefore, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms, comment on our lectures, like it, and then share to everybody. Thank you for joining me. Please invite your friends and well-wishers and your family members to this very important lecture. Like we have also maintained at the Nkoloma Hadum Wisdom University, that this is an university where you come and learn, where we make sure we package lectures and present them from Biafran and African perspectives, how things happening in this world is affecting you and me. The title of today's lecture is that African people should develop with African culture than foreign European ones. Again, today's lecture is that African people should develop with African culture, that is African way of life, than the foreign European one. And we want to let you know that what you see going on across all the African countries, trying to follow the European model in everything that we do, is because that is what they grow up to learn. That is what they are meant to, that's what they are taught about. And so that is why everybody tends to model everything they are doing to the European system, which is not supposed to be so. Because as you know, Africans never conquered anybody. The Europeans conquered, enslaved, and continue to exploit us of our human and natural resources up to today. They maintain what they have in their land, and then still come over to our own land and continue to exploit us to this day. You can see the trip taken by Joe Biden to Angola. What is it all about? It is to make arrangements for continuous exploitation of the Angolan people. The same way President Tinubu went to France last time, what he brought back was for France to be mining the resources of Nigeria. So it's all about all these European nations' continuous exploitation of the African continent, in addition to what they have on their own land. And so African countries should not be modeling whatever they are doing according to the European model. Instead, we should focus on African culture and African way of doing things. That is what Nkoloma Hadum Wisdom University have maintained since our inception. Therefore, we are suggesting to African countries to make the following changes. Number one, plan your cities to reflect African culture and way of life. Your houses should not be the houses being built in foreign land. You shouldn't build skyscrapers. If there's no need for that, why should you build skyscrapers? Why majority of your people are in poverty? The roads should be designed so that it will reflect the culture, and making sure that you are using all the materials that from the land, from Africa, to build the roads. Also, the environment of your cities should be configured so that everywhere you turn, you are looking at African environment. Stop trying to replace our African environment with foreign culture or foreign environment, so that we can maintain our identity. So what we are saying is, when you plan our cities, plan it to reflect African culture and identity. The second thing is about education. Ensure that you are using your local languages to educate your people, and try to reorganize the educational system. It mustn't be up to the doctorate system as being used by the Europeans. Make your education more practical so that productivity will be the main objective and achievement of any student that passes through that educational system. So our suggestion is for you to use your local languages for your educational system, and also make it very, very, very practical than this theoretical system that is leading Africans nowhere. In religion, follow the religion of our ancestors than the foreign imposed Western religion. We have also postulated many times here at Nkola Wisdom University that what we have on this earth is nature, and nature is what is being interpreted by so many cultures as the Almighty God. And in our own system, like in Igbo Biafran language, it is called Chukwu Okike Abiama. Every other thing, Jesus, heaven, hell, God, and Satan, does not exist. Heaven, hell, Jesus, and Satan are all derived from the action of man. So get it right. Go back to your ancestral religion of our ancestors. That is the religion that will help us to develop. In judiciary, also do away with the foreign imposed Western judiciary. It's not working. You can tell by President Biden pardoning his son, Hunter Biden, just a few days ago. Why should he be pardoned? Why shouldn't he be allowed to face the law? And then what is going on today in Nigeria with Dele Farotimi just hurriedly being put to jail? Before you know it, she's already in jail. Those are the foreign judiciary system that is not helping, and we never help our people. My friends who are in the judiciary system, or who are benefiting from the judiciary system, will say, what are you talking about? Yes. We have to go back to our Nsani. Our judiciary system is Nsani and Alohoshi. Go back to it, because that gives us instant justice. If you know the consequences of actions, it is preventative. It makes you not to. And so let's do away with foreign judicial imposed laws that we are currently using, because it's not going to help us. The fifth thing we want you to do is to do away with all this your artificial boundaries you create and cross or call countries. Those are meant to just siphon your resources and be giving it away. Decentralized to the villages, towns, and cities. Dissolve the whole local government. Dissolve the state government. Dissolve the what they call the country. Everybody comes from the village or town or city. Go back to where you come from. That's the best way to decentralize Africa, and we get the best results. In fact, the best results that anybody can imagine. In the place of banking, go back to our physical economy. What we were practicing before is physical economy. And also you see the where we store wealth. You can see when you have physical economy, you can see the wealth being stored either in gold or silver or in oil or in uranium. And do away with this paper money. This paper money that the Europeans printed to buy all our resources. Do away with that. Go back to physical economy. That's what we were practicing before. When you hear trade by barter, it's physical economy. Economy which is dependent on production. You produce something and I produce something, then we're going to exchange. That's what trade should be about, and not one using paper money to buy all your resources. In mining, Africa should develop their own system of mining and do away with the foreign system of mining. Have your own developed system of mining and being mined by our own population. In that way, you decrease unemployment. You don't have to have foreigners coming to mine what you have in your land. This is 21st century. In dressing, all these ties and shoes should be discontinued because our environment is very hot. Our fashion designers should go to work and design dresses for different atmosphere, for different occasion, for different weather in our land. When you see how the lawyers dress in Nigeria, in the hot environment, and no AC in the courtroom, that speaks volume. You see the way some priests dress with all this, their gown, in a place that is no AC in the environment. All those things should be discontinued in our land. And our designers should go to work to develop different dresses for different conditions. In food, African foods should be the major delicacies. Don't allow all this foreign junk food coming in now, which they're advertising to you. This is junk this, junk that, and you are going for them. Continue to make sure that our locally prepared food is what everybody is eating in Africa. So if you are a foreigner, if you are from Europe, and come to Africa, you eat our food. That's the best way to go. Then in transportation, we must not be using cars for transportation. Why should we be using cars? Africa have an opportunity to come out with their own car, with the type of car we should be using in Africa. That car could be using water. It could be using water for pressure. It may not be using oil and gas. So Africa have an opportunity to develop things that is not yet available. We can develop our own vehicle that uses water than oil and gas. Also, the roads should be designed with African culture in mind. We cannot be designing roads the way they are designing roads abroad. No. Design the roads to also showcase African culture and environment. Also, in electricity, Africa should develop their own system of electricity. We cannot be using coal. You know that the coal pollutes the air more than any other system of electricity production. And so Africa should find a way to design another system that will be giving them electricity than the current system of using dam or coal and any other ways, which is being introduced by the Europeans. And so Africa culture and way of life should be the first, and others should be coming second if needed. That is what Nkola Mahadum wants you to know today. It is very, very, very important that you Africans listen and adhere to the suggestions being made at Nkola Mahadum Wisdom University for you. And because we are running out of time, the summary of what we are saying today is that Africa should develop with African culture than the European ones. And do you know why we are following the European ones? Because that is what we grew up with. That's what they taught us. After colonization, we are still following their system up to today. So when you see many of us inside the Western culture, it's because that is what we grew up with. But people have now realized, and Nkola Mahadum is also one of the propagators of advising Africans to go back to your own roots. When you go back to your own roots, you plan your cities to reflect African culture and way of life. Your education, use your local languages for all your education, and reorganize the educational system. It mustn't be up to doctorates. What we need is practical education that can produce goods and services. Also, religion, go back to the religion of our ancestors, which has Nsane, which is based on Nsane and Aloposhi, than the current one that promises you heaven after you have died and rotted and don't know where you are. Apart from nature, the Almighty God, everything they're telling you about religion, Jesus, heaven, hell, Satan, all are man-made. And all you can feel from the action of man. In judiciary, in government, decentralized to the villages, towns, and cities. Do away with local government system and country system. Those are colonial impositions. In banking, go back to physical economy. In mining, develop African way of mining and mined by our people, not foreigners. In dressing, tie and suits should be discouraged or banned in Africa because it's not suitable to our environment. We have a hot environment, and our fashion and designers should go to work to produce the current dress, a better dress for every condition. In food, we make sure that the food we are eating in Africa comes from Africa. It's African delicacy, not the junk ones that are currently coming in. In transportation, we can design our own vehicle, call it something else that could be using water. It mustn't be using oil and gas. We can also construct our roads to reflect African culture and identity. In electricity, we can also develop African way of producing electricity. than the current ones using coal, dams, and others. And we are maintaining and suggesting from this university, Colomado Wisdom University, that African culture and way of life should be the first in Africa, and others come second if needed. If not, we should and continue to lose our identity, which makes us second-class citizens to the world and slaves to the world. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining me. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our lectures, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, comment and share, because what we are packaging to you and presenting to you from Biafran and African perspectives, you can only hear it from this university. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day.